Hello, everyone. Today I'm sat with Inaya Ali, who is a member of the KPMG Transformation Team. Inaya, please can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what the KPMG Transformation Team is?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. So, a little bit about myself. I started my career actually in IT audit, realizing that auditing wasn't for me, and decided that instead of auditing tools, that I actually wanted to implement the same tools that I was auditing. So, made a transition early on into my career, and that's how I ended up in identity. Wanted to really work on solutions that had real world consequences, and wanted to work on implementing large scale technology for large organizations. And that's what I do now at KPMG. So whether that be authentication solutions, IGA solutions, and a couple other areas as well.
Sounds awesome. So with your experience in your career so far, can you tell me about a pivotal moment or turning point that really shaped your journey into tech, or identity?
Yeah. I think starting out in my career, that pivotal moment hit pretty quickly. You start by looking at solutions as the architecture and kind of the protocols that you're following. And a mentor sat me down and said, look, you're not just looking at systems, you're looking at how the decisions you make every single day will affect real people. And early on in my career, I worked on what seemed like a standard access and authentication design. And on paper, it met every single one of the technical requirements that a client asked for. But once it got deployed, we really saw, okay, some users are locked out here because of their identities and they don't fit these clean, predefined assumptions that we tend to make. So that was my turning point where identity really stopped being about those protocols and the architecture and really became about people, equity, and access. And now I tend to gravitate towards identity work because it sits at this really interesting intersection of security, usability, trust, and honestly, getting it wrong has real human consequences. So we try to make sure we get it right as often as we can.
Absolutely. So with that, why would you say the Women in Identities mission is so important to you?
I think it really sits with me because it's not just about implementing solutions, it's about representation. And I can say from my personal experiences that our identity in our industry still doesn't really fit and reflect the diversity of the users that we tend to design for. I've personally benefited tremendously from mentors, sponsors, peers that have really helped me navigate that technical land space. And not everyone has that sort of opportunity. So I think Women Identity's mission is not just about visibility, it's really about influence. So when more women are part of identity discussions, we challenge some of the narrow assumptions that are made, we ask better questions and build solutions that work for more people. So supporting this mission feels both like paying it forward in a way for me, for all the people that have helped me get to where I am, and really helping shape a more thoughtful, inclusive future for identity.
Sounds great. And finally, if you could sit across from a tech or identity leader that just doesn't get inclusive design, what personal story would you tell them to make them care?
A little bit about watching a secure identity solution fail, some of the users that it's meant to protect. So personal example I can give is that we designed an authentication flow optimized for the majority use case. And sometimes leadership dismissed edge cases as low priority, but those edge cases turn out to be really important key users, especially in constrained environments whose access is critical for business continuity. So rework costs time, money, and trust. And I think a lesson I would like to share is that inclusive design isn't a nice to have. It's needed at this point. And I tell them that inclusive design is about building systems that work under real world complexity, where people don't all look the same, work the same, or authenticate the same way. So I'd like to change that perspective that it's a nice to have and it's actually a requirement of design.
Absolutely, and we're 100% with you. And thank you so much for sitting with me today. I'm really looking forward to sharing this with our community.